attack people. You attack the process. You never attack people. You attack the process. And I took that business acumen and brought it to politics with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., where we didn't attack the other candidates. We attacked their policies. So, food for thought right there. I'll send you guys an invoice later. Anyway, we got some flames coming up from Adrian. Adrian, how you doing tonight? Adrian's on fire, guys.
Let's hear it, Adrian.
Wow. You're going to have to keep your enthusiasm to a bare minimum, Adrian. You're out of control.
So, just so I got what you said clearly, Augustus, you were for RFK before, and now you're on the Trump thing by virtue of that angle?
Yeah, I mean, I came in day one with RFK Jr. As his creative director. So I've been behind the scenes the past year and 6 months, basically working with every single team in his campaign, fundraising, press secretary. We've worked with communications, social media, video, the field, state directors. We've worked with the Libertarian Party. We've worked with campaign management. We've worked with policy. We've worked with every single group revolved around the campaign. I've had my hands involved since day one, leading a team of which grew and grew and grew, and now we're walking away from the campaign with a team of 18 people I've overseen. So, creative director, you got a lot of responsibilities, a lot of communications, a lot of long hours. And I believe in RFK Jr. I believe in him so much that I think he's doing what is best for this country. And whatever decision he makes, I'm going to get behind it. Now, there's a lot of supporters that, and even people within his campaign that, don't get behind it, and I respect it to a certain level. But, for instance, there's this one guy.
Can anyone hear Augustus back in?
No, Augustus, I think you lost cell data or whatever.
Can you hear us, Augustus? I have a question for Augustus.
So I know Hekima is going to vote for Kamala and not Trump and Kennedy. But I'm wondering, if you hate Trump, what are the real advantages to voting for Kamala versus Trump? Because now that you have Kennedy with Trump, it seems to me that with the Kennedy speech, he said that the 3 things on why he's forming a unity party with Trump is because of forever wars.
And work their way all the way to the top just to sabotage the campaign and break people's hearts like Hekima, whose heart was broken. I say you're Judas. It's that simple.
Hey, Augustus. Augustus.
Me, I'm loyal to the foil. Whatever it is that he says goes. It's that simple for me. I wouldn't have gotten behind him because of his politics. I got behind him because of who he stood for. And we're putting our country before the party right now. We're putting our country.
I'm a Judas, Augustus. You said somebody else.
No, this other dude is a Judas. This dude who's working on the campaign. That basically fucked the campaign so bad that people like yourself were like, okay, the campaign's not doing what they said that they was going to do, and now I'm not with it. So it's people
just
because
so
that.
I get the news of what you're sharing here. the campaign kind of turned against itself in a part. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I have a question for you if you're ready for it, or unless anybody has something else. It's a question for you, Augustus. If we lost you for a bit of it, so you might have lost some of your context, just like Hakeem asked me that about him or about somebody else. That's the reason.
Yeah. We missed about 45 seconds of you talking about.
Yeah. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh man, I can't hear you guys. Let me leave and come back.
Oh wow.
That's happening a lot on the app these days.
Yo, I couldn't hear you guys. What are you saying? Yeah, I'm here now.
So here's my question to you in particular, because I've never heard of you before today, and I'm glad to meet you. But I'd like to ask you if you might take us down a little bit of projection for you personally and those other 12 or 18 you referred to. A scenario of what you do after the election if Trump wins. Seems a little more obvious, but and what you do post-election comparison.
I mean, right now our team basically is doing a combination of things. So some are sticking around to basically help RFK Jr. wind down the suspension of his campaign on a volunteer basis. Some are still on board as far as their contract, but that means they can't pick up another contract. I had my contract terminated, so I can't pick up another contract. And what we're looking to do is basically go and offer our services to Donald Trump and let him know, listen, we're here to help. We want to serve our country, and we'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. So until then, until we actually go on board with him, we're basically open for business. Today I had a conversation with somebody running for Congress. We've had Congress people, Senate people, all contacting us, seeing if we could offer our services to them. We've also had small businesses like medical practices, law firms, apps that run, startup companies, all contacting us. We've worked with big brands in the past. We've worked with small businesses. We've worked with startups. We've worked in political campaigns. We've built platforms like this one, Preservation of the Human Race. We built accounts on Facebook with 300,000 followers, a million followers. We built social media profiles up to 50,000, 100,000, a million followers plus. So, and managed accounts with millions and millions of followers. So we're kind of a one-stop shop. You can go check out my website. It's on my my profile here, Palante.com, Palante Branding House. We offer a wide spectrum of services.
So you guys are a communications team, not only in politics but in business as well.
Yeah.
You know, Augustus, if you look at Drudge Report, it says at the very top, the Don says he was a plant. And so the counter propaganda against Kennedy and Trump, especially on Drudge Report, which is totally supposed to be somewhat just a news reporting website and a link aggregator. But what I'm saying is that just as in what Kennedy says with controlled media, I mean, it is obvious that, the media is essentially an amalgamation of the CIA or the deep state from, the whatever that operation is called. The point is that Kamala, has tremendous backing. And, if you're a media expert and you're going to work for Trump or Kennedy, I mean, the media war just will not stop until till election day. And the message is this: the simulacra says that the medium is the message. So what that implies is that whatever words you use or whatever philosophy or economics or science you're able to essentially speak or transmit in words, it still can't supersede the mediums, which is the mainstream media, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Apple. I mean, how do you get inside of people's minds and tell them, hey, it's dangerous to vote for Kamala because she's actually a very subversive agent of the deep state and the Fortune 500, which she will just roll over and do whatever the hell they want her to do. She's a sellout. She's not a republic type focused person. And she is probably the embodiment of Obama in the sense that he's not worth 100 million, Michelle's worth 100 million, the kid's worth 10 million. I mean, it pays to play in the game of regime change, vaccines, and censorship.
Right. I mean,
quick
go ahead.
Why Biden didn't get part of this money you're talking about? Biden is by Washington standards. He's pretty poor. Like between him and his wife, the doctor, he works 10 million or less, and half of that is his
Did you
house.
really just say that Joe Biden is pretty poor? You're out of your fucking mind, dude.
I mean, his net worth is $10 million. You can show me something different.
Dude, his net worth is way above $10 million. Hunter's worth $100 million.
Can you show me that?
Yeah, I'm going to get the link. Give me 5 minutes. I'm going to put it in the chat. Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, really it all comes down to the power of persuasion. You know, I know Adrian's a big practitioner of the power of hypnosis, but I think that the hypnosis is the weaponization of communication, and communication is key. So it's really, to me, all about the power of persuasion. If anything, you know, this hypnosis campaign ran by the Kamala Harris and Biden administration has been to a point of weaponization, military grade, weapons grade, psychological operations and warfare on their own people. And it's been going on for quite some time. What I think we need to do in order to combat that is launch a remedy to that. And Kennedy is that remedy. And he's behind Trump 100% all the way. They're in a strategic alliance. And, you know, the first time I ever spoke with him, I brought up CIA mind control programs. And he said, you know, acts of civil disobedience will help remedy that military weapons grade psychological. You know, if you see somebody at the front of a CVS, and they're saying you can't come in this CVS, sir, unless you wear a mask, and if you don't have one, here's the box right here on this stool, and he points to the stool and he asks you to get a mask. What are you gonna do? 9 times out of 10, people are gonna fall for that weapons grade hypnosis, grab a mask and put it on their face. But what you're gonna do is the power of persuasion to combat that hypnosis. And you're going to say, no, thank you, sir, with a smile. And you're going to walk through that CVS without a mask on, with an ear-to-ear smile, and people are going to notice. They're going to say, wow, look at that guy. He doesn't have a mask on. Why is he so happy? What is he doing smiling like that? Doesn't he know how expensive these groceries are? Well, it's not because of the Trump administration or RFK Jr. himself for the reason why those groceries are so high. You know, we're just happy to be alive. We're just happy to say, no, I will not comply. And given that First Amendment God-given right of freedom of speech to say those words, it's that simple. So it's the power of persuasion. We're now going to persuade everybody in that CVS that day that the next time that they go to CVS, they're going to do the same exact thing through example, through acts of civil disobedience. It's that simple.
Well, I mean, I think it's what Kennedy says. The reason why he's forming a unity party with Trump is because of forever wars, vaccines, and censorship. Google, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Meta, YouTube, even Clown House, and everything is still engaged in censorship to a certain extent, but X is at least open. And when you see the truth that the government weaponized all the agencies and had a portal known as CISA within the White House that connects with all major branches of government in order to crush Trump and crush Kennedy and maintain their power, that is not democracy. That is essentially usurping the republic and being felonious traitors and criminals and liars and domestic terrorists.
Hey, one question. Hey, I'm still waiting on that. I'm find it, but you talk about forever war. But Trump is the only person that's talking about going to war in the Americas. Like, he want to go after the cartel. Like, he want to build the wall Cool, I'm okay with that. They supported that, I'm okay with that. Well, protect your border. We have no right to go into Mexico and other South and Central American countries talking about invading cartels, going to war with the cartels. We have no business doing that. That's going to cause a serious refugee crisis throughout the Americas, not across the waters, but in the Americas. They're going to cause a disaster.
So let me ask you a question. Nick. Are you pro cartel?
No. You got me all wrong.
What I said is close the border. If you close the border, they can't get their drugs up here. They will be stuck with their drugs in their country. There's no need to close the border. If you say you're going to stop people from getting here, then they won't get their drugs here. Cool. So why would you go into the country killing cartel members, which is going to destabilize families? Millions of people will lose family members, lives. A lot of innocent people will be killed. Like, what do you really think the consequences of going to war in the Americas with a bunch of third world countries who's already in bad spots?
Hakima, we get it. It's a bad idea. We get it.
So you're telling me that the Kamala Harris supporters are going to be saying we're pro cartel operations here on America's soil.
No, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for Kamala. I'm not speaking for Kamala supporters. I'm not a Democrat, as you know. I'm not speaking for Kamala's administration. I'm speaking against what Trump has plans on doing in Mexico and other Central and South American countries. It's going to be a disaster.
I agree with you.
guys can't see that. Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you, AJ. You'd obviously, if you could wave a magic wand, prefer that many more people agree with you than presently do, even though you may be okay with how many do agree with you because you talked about that. But I wonder if you're hearing something that Augustus needs to be saying, and he's aligned with quite a bit of what you're talking about in many ways. But I also hear him saying that it is not just about your read of it, which is your concept, your ideas, accurate or not, but how many people actually agree with it that matters. And I just want to ask you, if you believe that's true, do you think that just calling out the facts as you are, as you see them, is enough to make some influence?
Well, I think, I believe in God. And so when I speak out loud, I have faith that the universe is somehow picking up my vibration or my, what I'm thinking and saying. And it's a reflection of yourself. I think that we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. And so, when I have thoughts and I say them, I believe that in some weird way that the logos or magic may somehow circumvent or I've met Augustus in person, and I think the word is really synchronicity. And there's other words that might describe what internet telephony or having these conversations can do. I mean, it's also talk therapy, so there is that dopamine feedback loop perspective of being on this app. Boredom crusher, loneliness crusher. But my point is, if you're just a partisan, at least admit it. Don't be a hypocrite.
I think that another great way to reverse the hypnosis is you ask questions that you know are going to open up pathways for truth. So if I ask, Hakima here, so you're telling me that let me ask you a question, Hakima, hypothetically speaking. You're pro cartels operating on American soil? Now, it's going to basically open up a pathway for him to think about that and say, wow, I'm actually not for the MS-13 working their operations in Chicago and Philadelphia and Detroit and Los Angeles and San Francisco and New York, because I love those people in those areas that are negatively impacted by gang violence and cartel violence and all of the horrible things that come along with being somebody who supports a cartel. So, his initial knee-jerk reaction might be, oh no, I'm not against. I'm against cartels, but I'm voting against Donald Trump because of X, Y, and Z. Well, maybe that question was profound enough for him to go back and think about his answer later on, and then say, oh wow, maybe we should get rid of the human trafficking in the United States. Maybe we should get rid of the people behind drug trafficking in the United States.
Augustus, I never knew you to be disingenuous, but like I said clearly what my stance was. I'm not for the cartels. Like I'm for closing the border. They can close it and put up.
I was just using you as an example. I'm not saying that's what you think.
Let me finish up real quick. Thanks. But like I'm for that. If he closed the border, only thing Mexico would do would have a drug problem within their country. I'm not for drugs getting to this country because it has devastated my community for decades. So I'm not for it. But to say that he's gonna close the border and go after cartels, he have no right to go in another country and invade them about what that country decides to use as a product, right? Like, and not only that, like really think about the consequences behind it. Okay, say you against the cartel. What are the consequences of going after the cartels in Mexico, in Colombia and Venezuela and all throughout the Americas? What are the consequences? We already have a refugee crisis. People fleeing those countries. If the Marines and the Navy go into those countries, what would happen after that? We would destabilize the Americas, not Middle East, not Africa, the Americas, and they will all be flooding to our border at a number that's unfathomable.
Yeah, that's what's happening right now, and what's been happening for the past 4 years.
It's going to be way worse than that. If Trump go after the cartel,
I agree with you that it's called blowback, but the point is,
there will be many lives lost, and it will cause a crisis in America that's going to be worse than we can.
I mean, I think you need to talk about drugs and what drugs are people doing and what drugs are good and what drugs are bad, because, I smoke cannabis. I mean, I go to dispensaries that are licensed and operated professionally with great product, and it provides an incredible income opportunity, but smoking is bad. But the point is,
But the worst drugs are the ones being sold by the pharmaceutical companies.
oh, I agree, but
RFK wanted to address that.
the advertising industry and the biopharmaceutical industry are one and the same. There's no difference. And they sell poisons. The adverse effects, when you listen to what some of these miracle drugs that they advertise on television can do for you, you're like, wait a minute, you just said you were going to help me with my knee pain, and now I'm shitting blood and I have a brain aneurysm. Did you really just put that all in the same advertisement?
I agree with that. So I mean, we want to go after drugs. Go after all drugs, not just one, not just the ones you disagree with. Go to the start.
Well, the point is, we need liberation in this country. We need individual freedom, individual will to express ourselves. If you want to use cannabis and create a bunch of art paintings, well, mazel tov. If you want to go sell fucking 150 vials of people lined up on your block, there's a problem with that, because if you're going to have gang leaders operating as pharmacists, there's a major problem.
You got a hard sell for a Trump supporter to talk about individual freedom when he's going against critical race theory, DEI, and things like that. Like I'm no supporter of the LGBTQ. They got a right to do what they want to do, but I'm not championing that though. But Trump wants to push it back. So you can't say it's about individual freedom, because if it was, he would support that.
Yeah, but what does CRT or DEI have to do with individual freedom? That has nothing to do with one's character. That has everything to do with affirmative action and bullshit policies.
That's individual freedom. If somebody wants to teach that, and someone wants to...
Yeah, but the government shouldn't be paying for it. If you want to sell that course as a teacher or an educator, or if a university wants to do it, that's great. But the government has to stay out of that type of fucking fugazi propaganda bullshit.
Everybody can pick from both sides, but they would disagree what the government should pay for in education. So at the same time, the government should just pay for education the way they are doing, actually spend more money in education, and let the school make it a state issue. How about that? You want to talk about abortion being a state issue? How about let that be a state issue? Let the people vote on that.
Well, I agree with you. State issue is everything. And in fact, states used to issue their own currency, but now we have monopolies.
But Trump's not pushing that, though. So but my point is, don't act like Trump is for individual freedom when he's nowhere near.
Hey, I've got to pick up here, Adrian, when you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say one more thing, is it's not about Trump, it's about our individual freedoms, our will to power, our will to creative force, our will to art, our will to love, our will to all the positivity things. It's not about Trump. I think he's going to be the best executive to run the country. I think Kamala is a Marxist, communist, domestic terrorist, a subversive deep state terrorist. She's a racist, a bigot, a clown, a fool, a low IQ dimwit. She's a blowjob, Willie Wilson, San Francisco Marxist terrorist piece of shit. Most dangerous thing that could ever get in the White House.
Sorry, Daniel.
No problem. I think it's amazing and a freaking miracle if we find.
I thought he was talking about Trump.
Hold on, Carlos. Hold on. Yeah, I just wanted to say, Adrian, I really mean this. I have asked that question in a different form to lots of people and observed that question going on in my head when I asked you, where Augustus was coming from, because I think it's the most important conversation I've heard so far is this distinction between hypnosis and persuasion. I would say, for my eyes, persuasion is a form of agreement, and I don't think you really make any change without agreement, no matter what you have to do to get there. And the reason I point this out, Adrian, is I've asked the question I asked of you, and you came back with, I am making agreement. I'm making agreement with the universe. I shouted it into existence. And I'm making agreement with myself, right? Because the other thing, I'm being very genuine with you. That is a really powerful recognition that I have not had. So I wanted to thank you for that. I think we can recognize, if we're really for a position and we know it's true, you're talking about policy there, what are the things we agree on, even if we pick a different candidate? There are some things. I heard you talk about liberty, right? Individual rights, all of that. That's a start, right? Because then you can kind of have a common ground between us of how we compare all the people running in state, local, federal, and even end up with, other kinds of power in corporate versions too, and in our families as well. Because we operate on agreements. Doesn't matter how much we disagree to get there. We're not very good at finding agreement, I'll just say, for the record, in my opinion. But there are things that are going on right now in the population of America and the rest of the world at an individual level, like us having a conversation like here, that actually has that kind of influence and persuasion to make policy changes that our grandparents couldn't dream of. We have far more power, no matter what we think is going on and the things being done to us. Our individual capability to collect and do individual and collect, not either or. Individual ways that we collect have far more power than they used to have.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Daniel, and welcome to some of my good buddies, Dr. Mitch, King James, and Jay. How you guys doing today? Listen, before we get to it, I just wanted to let you guys know, I just had my work call. Briefly, I told him, I said, listen, we've got a big space coming up tonight. We've got a clubhouse going right now. And I know you're 12 minutes late to this call. I'm calling you. What are you doing? Oh, I totally forgot about the business call. Listen, I'm cooking dinner right now. So I said to him, why don't we do it tomorrow? He said, that'd be great. I'll give you a call when I wake up. So we're going to schedule that for tomorrow, which means that this room is going to stay open. Let's go. We're saving America, ladies and gentlemen. MAGA and RFK Jr. have created an alliance. Trump 2024, Kennedy 2028. It is great. Tap the link at the top of the room. It's the X space that I will be having today called Make America Healthy Again. Save America, MAGA, RFK Jr. 232 people have already RSVP'd. 232. And I'm estimated to have over 1,000 people there. Last night, I hosted space with 1,500 people in it for 8 hours. So we're going to have a really big space tonight with a lot of special guests, big influencers from all different platforms, and would love to have you come through. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell y'all, because this is a small room. I'm working on getting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to come through and speak. This will be the first time he speaks to the people in this format since he made his announcement just yesterday. So, exciting.
Just remember that the Trump Kennedy Unity Party is based on three principles, which is ending forever wars, stopping these vaccines that are killing everyone, and the third is censorship. Censorship is the most important because if you can't think it, you can't say it. If you can't say it, you can't get it out to the universe, to people's heads. That type of control will destroy humanity.
So you guys know on how like the DNC is famous for suing Donald Trump so many times, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but 6 different times as he had 6 different court cases he's fighting right now. You guys realize that, right? And it's a tremendous amount. It's a huge amount. But you know what's even crazier than that is that same conglomerate, that same elite tyrannical government is going after RFK Jr. not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not even 6 times, not 7 times, not 8 times, but 9 times. There's 9 legal battles that he's fighting simultaneously, more than Trump, from the DNC. So then people are wondering why. Why is it that RFK Jr. would align himself with Trump? Well, it seems like the DNC doesn't really like him too much, to be honest with you. They've forced him off of the ballot. They've taken him to criminal court 9 different times for even saying he wants to be a nominee.
It's dirty. It's prosecutorial misconduct.
Not to mention the prosecutorial misconduct, but also the censorship you were just talking about. That's a form of election interference. That's a form of censorship. Not to mention the fact that they intentionally didn't give him Secret Service. As a political move in order to drain his campaign of 33% of whatever they made to pay for their own personal security. It's cost them tens of millions of dollars. It's cost them tens of millions of dollars in security, tens of millions of dollars in lawfare. All of that money should have been going towards the people who support him, the people who are on the ground, the field game, the door knockers, the volunteers. I mean, all that money could have been allocated to actually have a campaign that was a presidential campaign that was for the people, by the people.
But look, Kennedy's the fulcrum. Without everything he did, none of this would be possible.
Let me just finish what I'm saying, which is, it's truly fascinating to me to see on how people are just so, taken aback and surprised that, RFK Jr. is going to align with Trump when they just drained him dry of all of his cash in legislation, all of his cash in security, not to mention the fact that they wanted to censor him off of every single opportunity that they had in order to have a real debate. So you don't even want to champion your policies. You don't even want to, give your nominee the chance to be able to earn voters. Instead, you silence him on the debate stages. You silence him in the off of the ballot, and you drain his campaign funds through lawfare and through not giving him security. I mean, it was only until we all saw a former president of the United States almost get his head blown off in front of everybody's eyes for them to say, okay, we'll give you some security. It was only until then. I mean, he set records for not being able to get security. There's literally dozens and dozens. I went through a list actually today of hundreds of different nominees throughout the past 50 years that have gotten security without his polling numbers, right? That had smaller numbers than him and still got it.
And no explanation about Michael Crooks or who he was communicating with or anything about him. They burned the body. They covered it up. That is another conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. This is a major problem. The deep state is trying to kill Trump and trying to kill Kennedy, and they won't stop. Kamala and Waltz are definitely some type of fucking sleeper agents or some type of sycophants. And Kamala she will destroy this country like the black goddess queen of India, Kali. She's the apocalypse. And I know people say Barack Hussein Obama was Satan, but for Christ's sake, Kamala could really do it. She could lead us to Third World War with nukes and cause an entire collapse of civilization.
If you look at the Secret Service, like, all right, first of all, like clearly they're terrible. They're terrible or they're perfectly setting up assassinations. And either way, I will be okay without Secret Service protection. But Adrian, but to you though, I'm still waiting on the Biden.
I mean, he had multiple.
While we wait,
I'm still waiting on the Biden network.
I mean, for you to say that's so disingenuous, because especially coming from somebody who just said that I was being disingenuous. Listen, the reality of the situation is that he had 4 attempts on his life while he was paying for private security. But you're okay with that?
I'm saying the Secret Service is terrible. What I'm saying, like
You can't tell.
I'm saying that while I'm supporting them, like I wouldn't want their protection. Clearly, they are terrible. Is the point I'm making.
Well, it was a strategical move. It literally drained the campaign of tens of millions of dollars that could have gone towards the millions of people who wrote down on their name that we want him on a ballot. You know he broke a record for that? More signatures for him to be on a ballot than any other presidential nominee in human history.
But the Democrat lawyers will just expunge all the registrants because you're not in the database.
Hold on just a second, Augustus. Augustus, when you opened this room, you said that there is something to do with the obligation to truth in the communication, right? Not just hypnotic, not just persuasion, but there is an element of that that's important to you. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. We asked, is there enough truth? Which is sort of a stupid question, but we did a whole couple of hours on Clubhouse, more than a year old, if anybody wants to look it up. I can just boil it down to some of our conclusions in examining that question from a non-partisan perspective. Is that truth is both a belief and a fact. Like when somebody usually goes, that's a fact, right after some assertion they made, it's usually what they mean is a belief that they believe so strongly.
Malcolm never stops crying.
Well, I don't know it for a fact, but I know it's true. Sometimes we just know something is true, but we don't quite have the fact yet. Like believing in a certain kind of conspiracy, fact or fiction. Either way, if it's a fact or fiction, there's still a belief that precedes it. That belief is very important. However, it's really important if we are committed to the truth that when we have a belief, we own it as that, rather than everybody accepts something or whatever that doesn't actually have active proof yet, not ruling it out. We don't
Malcolm never ever stops complaining.
It becomes impossible to make anything but partisan conflict. Absolutely fucking impossible right from day one. We gotta have the ability to go, if I have a belief and I know what it is and I know what I stand for, it's part of my identity, but if I come up against a fact that's inconvenient to that, what will I choose? Left or right? If a fact shows up that contravenes my belief, which will I choose? That's what we defined in that. Well, you don't have to listen to the hour now that I just basically downloaded that, but I think it's key for us to really examine how we get out of this fucking mess of where the other side is my enemy instead of the fact that they believe some fucking stupid shit. Like you said at the beginning of Augustus, attacking the idea and not. I think it's a perfect way to go about this.
Yeah, shout out Daniel for that, and what's up, Dr. Mitch? What's up, King James? Wesley, what's up, my bro?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Preservation of the Human Race.
Just kidding, Dr. Mitch. Go ahead, boss.
What a historic speech and moment when they got together and they talked unity and corruption and government. It was like, a lot of people were brought to tears last night, and then we also realized we're kind of getting 2 for 1 here. Obviously RFK is a brilliant guy. He knows he can do good work if he's put in the right spot, even if it's not what he really deserves. When you watch him on stage and you watch the others, you know who's supposed to be the president. So this guy is a brilliant, dignified patriot.
That is a fact. 100%.
His strength is amazing, and how long he's been doing this and how successfully he did this is a testament to his brilliance and faith. He's a great man.
Yeah, I want a real quick little housekeeping thing to the mods up here. seconds. If you guys come up here and you disrupt or interrupt or you start saying crazy stuff, we're going to shoot you down in the goo in about 2 seconds. So just give you a heads up. But for those of you who really understand what's at stake here and want to contribute to the preservation of our country.
Have you seen the movie Good Shepherd? Because I get the feeling that that movie is a very good depiction of what is happening, which is Skull and Bonesman and CIA control everything, which is like Sith Lords. I mean, the Sith controls everything, and that's my opinion. It's dangerous to even say that, but I'm not afraid of anybody. My point is, do you think that movie Good Shepherd is a reflection of what's happening in Washington, D.C. and with, extreme influence in billionaires or Skull and Bonesman? I mean, it does seem like a secret cult is somehow because Kamala's the Trojan horse. She's the Trojan horse of Skull and Bones. Why don't people see that? Hakima, why don't you see that?
Facts. And what I find odd is that, like, I've been on this app stumping for RFK for this entire year. I didn't get not one Trump supporter that made him relevant. They always dismiss him. He's a nut job. He's this, he's that. But now all of a sudden he's with Trump now. It's the best. Now it's the best endorsement ever. Like, just be honest. Like, none of you guys supported RFK until he supported Trump. Everyone dismissed him. No one gave him any credibility.
No, that's not. You're. Hey, listen. You're in the wrong room for that one because everybody in here always supported him. Everybody in here always supported him.
Okay, cool.
I'm
talking about the people. Thanks, Dr. Mitt. I'm talking about the people I engaged with on this app. And you're right, it wasn't in this room. I talked to Augustus about it. Augustus knows me from other
He
rooms.
definitely supported him.
Okay, I didn't say Augustus did. I'm just making a overall point. That Trump supporters did not support RFK at all. And now they're making a big deal because RFK is supporting Trump. It just shows how they are just fucking sycophants in my opinion.
Will someone please explain what he's talking about? Someone other than him?
Well, again, I'll bring up Skull and Bones. I don't know why you can't consider the movie Good Shepherd and the Skull and Bones as Kamala being the Trojan horse of that organization, and thus the deep state, big vaccines and pharma.
Yeah, we got it. We're all Jay, what's he say? I just don't understand this.
Let me explain. All right, so Skull and Bones. All right, that's college stuff. That's preparing people for another passage to another area.
Well, I'm talking about George Bush, the George Bush family in Texas.
Yeah, like I say, they're way past
lower levels.
That's
you're correct.
college student stuff, and
The higher level bonesmen. These are the men that you cannot even sit in that presidential seat without having some sort of affiliation with them or coming from their organization. So you are right, Jay, that on a low level, this is just college verbiage and bullshit. What is crazy about America is that we have allowed the monarchy to basically take over our ideologies, meaning it is not about the low levels on their level. It is all about what the elite are doing. So what Cheeseburger's doing, though he trolls a lot, he is making a very good point. And how do we clean up America? How do we clean up the world? How do we police it the correct way? Well, we have to call out the secret societies, the elephants that are in the room. Who gives a fuck about who the candidate is if we cannot call out the elephant in the room? The people that are the gatekeepers for the ones that we look to expose on an everyday basis. We hear Donald Trump. We hear Donald Trump. We hear RFK. Now, I am not a huge Trump supporter. Do not mistake my words when I'm saying this. But I have seen a clear, it's pretty much clear cut and dry what is happening. Is that there is infighting going on inside of the shadow government. You have to X RFK Jr. completely out of the equation. Why? Because he is the most righteous of the three. He is the most capable of the three. He just happens to be a Kennedy, which walking in the door and Anybody who knows politics in America knows that when a Kennedy walks in the chambers of Washington, D.C., when they put their name on a ballot after John, God rest his soul, after John, everyone knew what the angle of the Kennedy men was if they got in that position. They would gut the secret societies. They would gut the CIA. They would gut child trafficking. They would gut the black budget that takes all of your tax money, lies to you about where it's truly going, and gives your money to the shadow government, puts your money inside of shadow operation, shadow wars. Everything that we're involved in is against what the Most High has set for America. How do you set America back on its proper path? Only by truth, only by exposing. And anyone who is afraid to die is not worth sitting in that seat. I'll land on that.
That was heavy. Everybody on mute real quick for me. You guys say hi to Stephanie, my fiance.
Oh, Stephanie.
What up, Stephanie?
Stephanie, God bless you now. All praise to the Most High.
That's the brains behind the operation. Without her, they would have never have million followers on Instagram. These social media geniuses.
Don't bust my balls over here.
Yeah, she's actually a driving force still behind the campaign. Yeah, you know, I asked to terminate my contract or whatever, and hers isn't, you know, so we got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You got 1 foot in and you shake it all about, you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
You shake it more than once and playing with it.
But talk your shit. Tell them about what's really going on in the world.
Well, what's the topic here?
It's America. Save America.
Save America. Well, we're gonna save America. We're gonna unite and get right, get tight, and take flight. And let me stop. I don't have nothing to say, really. I'm always working in the background, and I don't want to break my NDA. So, you know what that means. I keep my mouth shut, and I don't believe that women should be so politically vocal. So I'ma just shut up. Amen.
Good job. Setting an example. Anyway. So, we got a fire truck in the background. Sorry.
Women shouldn't be politically vocal. It's pretty interesting.
I mean, the secret society.
Have Kamala Harris, the appointed elite, spawn on a Satan running for president. I'll tell you that.
Augustus, who are the elites that you're talking about?
Who are the elites?
Yeah.
Do we have to teach class today?
No,
Class
can
is in session.
Can I just
you
say-
have a piece of paper and a notepad in front of you.
yeah, but can I just say one thing regarding that who is the elite question, and this is gonna be so it's gonna be so self-explanatory. Pretty much find out, and if you're just anybody on the street, doesn't matter. Find out who are the people who own the IRS. Find out the people who own the central banks. Find out the people who are behind the World Economic Forum.
The Jews.
The it doesn't matter. We don't want to call names. Just find out the people who are behind the CFR.
Thank you.
Just find out these people, and you'll know who the elites who you would want to consider.
Trilateral Commission, Council of Foreign Relations.
Just find out those names.
Why are
Those people who are behind these things, because they're not from the country. They're not from our country. Put it that way.
Assalamu alaikum.
So find out those people. You know who the elites are. You don't have to ask any of those questions anymore. And I mean that for everyone, anyone down in the crowd, anyone. Just look at those names, and you'll understand who's behind a lot of problems in your world, so to speak.
I mean, I'm gonna have to answer your question with another question if you're still here. Is the guy even still here?
No, he's gone.
Back up. Bring him back up.
I didn't shoot him, but I don't know. He might have dropped himself. Sometimes people think Jews with these hypothetical
mostly dropped
questions.
whoever.
Oh, he was real. What's up? Please
Do you want me to name names or do you want me to name entities?
It's a name with 3 letters. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, the people who are the elite is individuals like Larry Fink. You know who Larry Fink is?
A Jew, yes.
You know who he is?
The CEO of BlackRock, of course, the Jew.
That's correct.
Cut the anti-Semitic crap, please. Please cut it out.
Yeah, please. Hey, and thank you, Dr. Mitch, for that. Let's go ahead and get this out here real quick. Listen, anybody who is looking to expose, listen, anyone who is looking to expose on the level that we are at, you understand that there is no racial boundary, there is no religious boundary when we're talking about the elite. When we're talking about the ones that control this whole grid, there is no race to that. There is just no saying that it is a Jew, or it is a China man, or it is a black man, or a white man. That is, they all work together. Let's keep going.
But just so we're clear, Larry Fink is an avid Trump supporter. Just so we're clear.
But can I say one other thing, right? If you really want to aim at anyone right now, before you would say any kind of religious organization or religion, I would say go after. There's a specific group, and I would consider them to be Zionists. At this point, you would consider some to be Zionists or Marxists. So if you narrow it down to that, you're not narrowing it down to
Nah, I mean, I would have to disagree with you. I don't know any Chinese CCP Zionists. Do you?
No. Well, yeah, actually, yeah. Because even the other day, when Biden, that was really funny because when he was talking to I think was it Ukraine? It was the president of Israel. He called himself an Irish Zionist, and that was Biden who called himself an Irish Zionist. Yeah.
Right, but you're talking about Biden. You're not talking about like the general house.
No. I'm saying that there's other people that because once you get into Marxism, then you're obviously getting into Zionism at that point in a tremendous amount of ways if you really look at the philosophy. That's why I say that.
Well, I truly believe that the elites are individuals, and they are normally also entities of sorts.
Yeah, hold on a second though, Jay. If Zionism is communism or Marxism,
When you're in the middle of your response, I'm going to just ask if I can respond when you're in the middle of talking. Go ahead, respond.
what I'm saying is if you're a Democratic voter,
Let the guy respond.
So, I would never in my entire life believe.
Hey, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I was in the middle of saying actually that I believe that these entities like BlackRock, State Street, like these entities like what's the other one? BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. It's the individuals that are running those entities because those are the same entities that are running the Boeings, the Lockheed Martins,
The Jews.
He's not technically wrong when he says that, but at the end of the day, you have good people who are considered the same word you just said. So you can't
Exceptions do not.
No, but you can't umbrella up people. You can't umbrella.
He's elite, right?
Please don't use just the word. Please don't use
You can't
Hold
umbrella.
on, guys, real quick. Yo, let's shift the conversation. Let's shift the conversation. Because you want to know why? Because Joe B is in my room. She's a dear friend. We politically disagree on some things, but on most things we agree on. Joe B is a friend. She's a friend to many. She's a friend to many powerful people. And let's talk about whatever it is, that she has to say right now and give her working at the place you worked at. I'm not gonna put your business out there or who you're friends with. We all know. But I don't know, Joe B. You know, it's up to you if you want to disclose that information or not. But yeah.
I worked for SA for 7 years as a civil servant. I worked in Cuba and Turkey. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm debriefed, but I know what I know.
You're FBI. You're CIA.
Let her.
I'm glad RFK backed Trump. It was a smart thing to do.
Short, sweet. I like it.
Let's go, I guess this.
Yo, what's up, Angel?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm fired up. You know, I just got fired from my job. But you know what? I'm fired up.
That's the right mindset, you know?
Listen, what you and your fiance can do with videos can change the future of America. And if Trump isn't willing to pay you, we'll do it anyways, and then you'll bill him in the future.
That's right.
Thanks, bro.
We'll make them for free, but with a donation of a small donation of $10 million.
$10 million.
I mean, you have to understand the videos that you two have put out on behalf of Robert F. Kennedy has influenced and educated countless millions. You are the educators of America. The Department of Education should send you $500 billion a year instead of spending it on DEI, CRT, BLM, LGBTQ bullshit.
Oh, God.
And speech is hypnosis. Say it with that. Speech is hypnosis.
Thank you, Akima. I guess this is your resume, okay?
Yeah? Okay. Thanks, Joe B. Oh, you're the best. Yeah, I terminated my contract as I want to offer my services to better help serve this country, save America. I'm hosting a real big space tonight, Joe B. I hope you're there. I pinned the link to the top of the room. Would love to have you come up and talk for a moment if you have the time. It's going to be at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We've got already over 200 RSVPs. I've got a lot of special guests coming. Hopefully, RFK Jr. is able to join us tonight. I've already spoken with his top advisors and people closest to him and the family closest to him about it, and they're all going to work to try to make him take the time out to come on and say hello to everybody on stage and to everybody in the audience and send his good wishes to everybody. But God bless America. I'm fired up. You know,
This is exciting.
it's so exciting. You know, people on the campaign too are like, oh, I can't with my right conscience, get behind him, and they disavowed RFK. They disavowed him. And you know what I say to that person? Judas! You're Judas. You're Brutus. Stone him. Stone him. Say it again.
You sound like a Trump supporter. How about Stone?
Yeah, but listen, you have to understand Judas, without Judas Iscariot, the blessed Son of God would never have been sacrificed for eternal salvation for everyone.
Listen, if RFK Jr., we're going to need you to do something, we're going to need you to get behind Trump, then I'm front and center. I'm button in front of the line. I'm first in line. It's that simple.
Can you call that Judas? Can you call him and interview him? Because what he has to say could help Trump and Kennedy and Trump and J.D. Vance, you know, Mr. Skull and Bones Yale over there. Don't forget, J.D. Vance is also the Republican Skull and Bones Trojan horseman.
I have an unpopular opinion. Like, most Christians believe that Judas was the problem, but it wasn't. It was Peter. Peter was the issue. But most Christians don't realize that part. Yeah.
Because he denied him 3 times.
You don't realize.
Well, you know what? You want to know what I have to say to that? You know what I have to say to that?
Peter didn't
You know what I have to say to that?
God up.
You know what I have to say to that?
Peter
He didn't.
You want to know what I got to say to that?
He didn't snitch.
I'll tell you what I gotta say to that if you wanna know.
Hey, Peter is
Listen, I know everybody's dying to hear what I gotta say to that.
Peter is killed.
I'll let you know what I gotta say. I'll let you know what I gotta say. And it's real simple. If I was to look at, our crew as, the apostles, I consider myself not Peter. I don't consider myself Paul. I don't consider myself no fucking Judas. I'm Luke. And you know what Luke said? And
Skywalker.
Luke wrote my favorite gospel. He said, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few.
That's a good one.
Amen.
Amen.
Hey, Peter is the issue. If I was gonna put myself in that group, I would put myself. I'm Christ-like, not Christ. And I'm not the fucking Messiah. I'm not saying that, but I put myself with Christ. That He's the one and true and the only. So that's who I put myself behind. Not be a disciple. Oh, well, okay. So call it what you want to call it, but not according to my religion.
Let's just read a little Bible real quick. I'll let you know what I gotta say. Does everybody agree? I want to read Luke 10. After this, the Lord appointed 72 others and sent them 2 by 2 ahead of him to every town and place where he was about to go. He told them, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest fields. Go! I am sending you out like lambs among wolves. Do not take a purse or bag or sandals, and do not greet anyone on the road. When you enter a house, first say, peace to this house. If someone who promotes peace is there, your peace will rest on them. If not, it will return to you. Stay there, eating and drinking whatever they give you, for the worker deserves his wages. Do not move around from house to house. When you enter a town and are welcomed, eat what is offered to you. Heal the sick who are there and tell them, the kingdom of God has come near to you. But when you enter a town and are not welcomed, go into its streets and say, even the dust of your town we wipe from our feet as a warning to you. Yet be sure of this, the kingdom of God has come near. I tell you, it will be more bearable on that day for Sodom than for that town. Woe to you, Jerusalem! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago, sitting in sackcloth and ashes. But it will be more bearable for Tyre and Sidon at the judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, will be lifted to the heavens? No, you will go down to the Hades. Whoever listens to you listens to me. Whoever rejects you rejects me. But whoever rejects me rejects the one who sent me. The 72 others returned with joy and said, Lord, even the demons submit to us in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Let's get there, gentlemen. That was Luke 10.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a cool match.
No, that's called Christianity, my friend. It's called
Yeah, it wasn't convincing, but maybe there's some people convincing.
I don't know. Your name's Mary, but you sound
Well, I like to ask people, if the good news of the gospel is so great, can you tell us the gospel, Mary, in one sentence? I challenge anyone in this room to tell us what the gospel is.
I don't know. There's some guy named Mary on stage saying I'm in a cult because I'm a Christian.
Yeah, I see that. Mary had a little lamb. So crazy. Where are you from, Mary?
I'm from DC. That's my point.
We can tell you're from DC.